Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of this 2006 Mercedes R-Class, specifically the R500 4matic. This is not a very common car you come across. They are becoming more and more rare. They were not the greatest quality built cars, so some have already made it to the junkyards of the R-Classes. But if taken care of, as you can see on this one, even after 18 years, they do look still quite stylish. This one is in quite good condition. Somebody really took care of it. A lot of maintenance spent. On the inside, it's got the nice beige interior, or off-white, with pretty much all the bells and whistles. I think the only option missing on this particular model is a power tailgate. Comes with big tires, so for reference, these are 255/55/18s, which is their stock tire size. So as mentioned, so this one doesn't have the power tailgate. You got to push it up by hand, but it does lift up quite easily. To lower, it's the same thing. It does have the soft close. This one also has a tow hitch. They're rated to tow up to 3,500 pounds, and that's including the ones that have four-corner air suspension, such as the one in front of us here. Since we have the proximity key, simply slide your hand in, the car will unlock. Press the button, the doors lock. As soon as your hand comes near, it unlocks. Let's go in and see what this car looks like on the inside. So you do have a nice sized door that feels quite heavy. For the rear, the door is actually even bigger. So that's the only downside that we've had. This door is so long that in most parking lots you'll almost take up 2 parking spaces if you want to open the door completely. But with the door open, it's easy to get in and out, front or rear. In addition to having full power windows and mirrors, it also comes with power folding mirrors. And one nice thing that has, it's actually the very third row windows open as well, so they vent open and close from here. They're also electronically controlled. Automatic headlights, automatic wipers, cruise control. You should get radio controls on here, the multi-cluster control in here. You get the Mercedes lever style shifter. Nice set of gauges. They're clear, easy to understand. Below there you have your heated seats. And then down here on this model, so this one has the adaptive suspension, so you can put suspension in sport mode, comfort, or when none of the lights are on, it's in normal mode. Stability control. Here we have the park assist, so the parking sensors front and back. So right up here, there's a little set of dials or dots and lights that light up based on proximity, how close you are to something. In addition, through the rear view mirror, you can see in the back of the camera, right near the rear light, it also exists for the rear. So whether you're turning back and backing up by looking or by using your rear view mirror, those lights are quite easy to spot. So that's to turn that system on and off. This is the transmission control, so you can either have a transmission in comfort or sport mode. Comfort mode, your vehicle will take off in second gear. Sport mode, it will use first gear, and it'll also hold your gears a little longer. Finally, the button here is used to raise and lower the suspension. So this vehicle has four-corner air suspension, so the entire vehicle will raise 2.5, almost 3 inches when you press that button. So if you're in deep snow or some muck that you have to go through, you can raise the vehicle for as long as you're under 40 kilometers an hour. Once you reach 40 kilometers an hour, the vehicle will automatically lower itself back down. On the inside, the seats are fully powered, memory, and not only that, but even the headrests are power controlled. So additional seat setting that's on this premium model is the multi-contour, so it'll adjust the side lumbar, the bottom lumbar, how inflated the cushions are on the bottom, how inflated the side cushions are. So it's a very, very comfortable seat to be in for a very long time. So as you can see, the key, it's a proximity key. so you can keep your key in your pocket. The car does have push button start, and the same thing is start the car. Press your foot on the brake, press the start button, and off it goes. It does like to beep. It'll start. In the off chance that the key battery is dead, you can actually take the little cover out and pull straight out, and in the slot you can actually put the key in, and it'll use the infrared sensors to start your vehicle until you replace your key fob battery. Put this guy back. Down here we have the climate control system, so it's a dual zone climate control. You can also control the rear seat climate control, so it's a 3-zone climate system. 2-zone. The driver's side controls the driver's side as well as the rear. So whatever setting you have on the driver's, that's what applies to the rear. It does have a nice feature where even now the vehicle is off. When you press the rest button, it'll actually turn the system on, so it can either keep the car cool or hot until the engine is cooled off. The settings for the manual settings are here, but just like any other car with the automatic climate control system, press the auto button, leave it and forget it, and you should never have to worry about it. The defrost is the only one you have to use, so that's the rear window defrost, and that also does the side view mirrors defrost on both sides. As you can see here in the center console, the vehicle does come with an AM/FM satellite radio with navigation, maps, Bluetooth connectivity. Behind the screen there's 2 CD slots. One is for the DVD for the maps, the other one is just a normal CD changer slot. And in addition to that, in the glove box here, when you press the button, you also have a 6-disc CD changer, so you can load your CDs in there. And finally, at the very end here, there is a auxiliary input that can also be controlled, so you can plug your phone in. The buttons are quite nice. It is not a touch screen, so all these options on the side are controlled with the little button. So if you want to change where the sound is from, simply move the joystick to wherever you feel you'd want it. So it's a very simple but a very nice sounding sound system. It does come with the Harman Kardon sound system in this case, that features 2 speakers in each of the front doors, a center speaker, 2 speakers in each of the rear doors, 2 speakers in the third row, and a subwoofer in the trunk. So a very nice sound system, and the navigation system is okay for as long as your maps are not too outdated. On the rear view mirror here, in addition to the sensor that's up in the corner, and there's one on the back, so it does do auto rear view mirror dimming. That includes this mirror as well as your 2 side mirrors will auto dim if there's a car behind you. Finally, on the mirror itself, there's your 3 home link buttons, so for your 3 different garage doors you want to use. You also have 2 reading map lights as well as the 2 lights here, and finally the same thing is true in the very, very far back. There's more lights, and surprisingly enough, even though it's a very big cabin, once you open the doors at night, it is very bright in here, and I mean very bright. Down here you have a storage compartment, an ashtray, and a 12-volt outlet. Here you have a cup holder. Now this cup holder is a bit of like a Swiss Army knife. So in here you have a slot you can either keep a credit card or a parking pass that you kind of wedge in. You have 2 big cup holders openings. If you take this one out, you have a really big one you can actually put in the middle. And on the back of this, it's kind of like an Easter egg. So back here, this you can be used to open twist bottles, so you don't have to grab them, like it's quite sharp. And then on the other side, if you want to have a beer, you can open your beer bottle with the other end of the separator for your cup holders. Center console, you have a nice big console. Since we have the rear DVD system, it comes with the remote control with some more options and buttons. And then under this one, there's another console further down, and in this case I just have my DVD navigation CD there. So just like the driver's seat, the passenger seat also gets all the amenities for comfort. So it's a very nice space to be in. It's very comfortable. I'm not a big fan of just normal plain steering wheels. The wood ones I find they don't look the greatest, but they are very enjoyable to drive. Even on a hot sunny day like today, the wheel doesn't get very hot. It's actually quite nice. In addition to it being everything power controlled, including the steering wheel adjustment, so it's a telescoping and tilt adjustable electronic steering wheel. Through the center menu, you can actually set it to auto retract all the way back. It'll push your seat back to make comfort in and out of the vehicle easy. Same thing as soon as you come in, depending which key you have in your pocket. Once you press the start button, everything will adjust to your setting. That includes the side mirrors, the steering wheel, the seats. It'll recall that setting. Now for some of the neat features that do exist in this car. It doesn't do anything really special, but it does have all 4 windows are full power, full auto down and up. Whereas most cars that I've been in, it's usually the driver's window that's auto down and auto up. Some of the others will be auto down, but you have to hold it up. This one does do auto up and down on all 4 windows. That includes the sunroof and the sunshade. So the sunshade is full length front and back. That'll also close automatically and open automatically. As you can see, the sunshade is fully closed. It still does let some light in, but the heat actually stays out. And once you press the button once back, the entire sunshade front and back retracts without you having to do anything. You do have convenient hanger hooks up here, so either that one and then this one here can be actually used, that actually connects straight down to a latch to a little eyelet on the floor. So if you're putting if you have pets, you can actually put a full net all the way across to keep them in the back. And they'll have plenty of space if you fold all the seats. The gear selector is completely digital, so once you have your foot on the brake, you press it up to shift to reverse, press it down to shift to drive, press it halfway to go to neutral, and push it in to park the vehicle. Also, and it's not just for this car, but any car that has the electronic shifter such as these, it's always a good idea, especially if you're parked on an uneven surface. The proper way to actually put into park is shift to neutral, apply your parking brake, release your foot brake, and then put into park. So this way, you're not putting any pressure or strain on the transmission module that shifts gears. And the same procedure to put it into drive, press your foot on the brake, put it into drive, release the parking brake. That'll save you headaches with transmission costs and repairs. There's been a number of cases where people had to replace the electronic module that's on the transmission because they would just park on a slope, put in park, lift their foot off the brake, and that causes a really bad jerk once you're shifting into gear. Another neat feature that has to do with this car that I have never seen before, especially in a car of this age, is the way the auto hold actually works. And surprisingly enough, for 2006 it has auto hold. So what we'll do is we'll put the car in reverse, and I'm on a bit of a downwards slope. And pay attention to the brake pedal. When I release it, the brake pedal stays and then slowly comes up, but the car is not moving forward. And now when I press the gas pedal, it starts backing up. So once again, when you're on a downward slope and you release the brake off the pedal, until you press the gas, the brake pedal stays pressed, which is really neat for a car of this age. Now to put into drive, and so again, if I'm on a downward slope, I'm in drive. So now because I'm going down, as soon as I lift my foot off the pedal, it comes right up and the car goes forwards. So it's only in reverse that it does it, which is to help you taking off. Not sure how this will work out. I don't have the phone mounted the best, but we'll see if it falls down. Let's get going. So right now I just have my phone leaning against the instrument cluster. As you can see, it hasn't fallen down. That's how nice and soft the suspension is in its normal mode. Once it's in comfort mode, it gets very floaty. Whereas if I would put it in sport mode, it becomes very, very hard and stiff to a point where it's uncomfortable. So anybody who's driven one of these will tell you the same thing. Your best setting is keep the suspension in standard mode, because comfort, it's too bouncy, and sport is too hard on your back, frankly. The cabin is very quiet. It's very insulated from the road. The steering is very soft for large, heavy vehicles. So it does weigh about 5,000 pounds, this one. Now, another neat feature that it has that I haven't seen on any cars, at least to date that I've driven, the cruise control. Now keep in mind, this is a 2006, so the car is 18 years old. You have your normal cruise control stock, so you can either set it, raise the speed, lower the speed, or cancel it by pushing it away. But once you set it, you just pull it towards you. The cruise control comes on and sets to the speed you're driving at. If you press it down, it'll lower the speed to the next increment of 10. When you raise it, it'll raise your speed by an increment of 10. The neat feature is when you do lower the speed with cruise control, unlike most other cars that just coast until they slow down to that speed. So say you're going 100 and you hit it twice, you're going to go down to 80. The car actually does apply the brakes, and even if you don't have your foot on, you'll actually see your brake pedal will move in until the car slows down to the desired speed, which is really, really neat when it comes to the cruise control. It does do a full slowdown for you, including the applying of the brake pedal that you can feel and see from inside the car. Going back to the whole brake pedal down here, as you can see, one of the things that the car does have is once you take off and you're using the cruise control, it will take off a little quicker here now, and then I'll use cruise control to actually slow down the vehicle. And unlike some of the other cars that I've seen in the past, where the transmission slows you down, you can actually see in the video the brake pedal will move in to apply the brakes on its own. As you can see, the rear seats are very comfortable. They do recline and slide back and forth. And in the farmost position, recline, there's a lot of space. To get to the third row, it's one lever, and the whole seat folds over and forward. And actually getting into the third row is quite easy, to a point where it's easier than most minivans these days still. As you can see in this third row of seats here, there's quite a bit of space. Even for a full-size adult, when you're sitting, you have plenty of leg room. Currently, this seat is in the rearmost position, and they do slide back and forth. So it's in the rearmost position. There's large abundance of legroom here, so I'm stretching out, and I still can't come close to the front seat. Now, if I do, this one also comes equipped here with rear DVD system, rear climate control, rear heated seats, rear audio. So as you can see here, I moved the seat all the way forward, and there's still plenty of space for my feet. And in that position, back, there's just an abundance of space. So it will seat 6 adults quite comfortably, even on a long journey. Being the premium package, you do get the big panoramic sunroof that spans pretty much the whole way back. The trunk space behind the third row of seats, it's adequate. I'm not going to say you're going to go on a 2-week vacation with putting stuff in here, but there is plenty of space, as you can see, like so. 2-3 hand wides of space. To fold the third row of seats, it's quite easy. You have a lever here, move the seat forward, the bottom will swing up, and that side comes down. Same thing is true for the other side. The third row of seats folded, there's a lot of space back here, and it's deceiving what the camera shows, but the amount of space is just absolutely incredible. This middle seat here also does fold flat, again with that same handle. Pull it twice and the seat will go completely flat. Now that you have this seat completely flat, to make your life even easier, and they even have a little guide here that actually slides over and it will slot nicely. So that actually gives you a complete flat floor. As you can see, there's a lot of space between here and all the way down there to the front passenger seat. The left side seat will do exactly the same. So if you have to carry something very long, this is the car for you. Let's open up under the hood and see what we got here. So, being this almost their highest trim level, under here we come to a nice 5-liter V8 that produces just over 300 horsepower. It's tucked in quite far in the back. Servicing is not the easiest, but this whole shield here does come off and it does give you good access to the engine. This engine also has 16 spark plugs, so it's one of the systems where they put 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So that is a hefty maintenance cost to do when it comes time. Another neat thing that a car does is once it's parked and you open the doors, it'll actually lower itself down to make getting in and out easier. So once you have the doors open, the car will, oh, sorry, I touched it there. It's in my pocket, you can see it unlocked. So with the door open, you actually sometimes hear it like a small hiss, like a which is completely normal. The doors sound quite nice when they're closed. They are heavy. Up here on this one, we have the panoramic sunroof. And there's actually these little slots here that will open up, and there's one on the other side, and then the ones that are in the back here. So they're actually for the roof rack. So when you fold these open, that's where your roof rack mounts inside. As you can see, that sunroof stretches quite a long ways back. Finally, the length of this car is extremely long. It doesn't look like it when you see them on the road normally. You do see that it's a big car, but they are very, very long, even though they look like a minivan in the front. For reference, for example, it's longer than most midsize and SUVs. So even SUVs such as the Kia Telluride, the Hyundai Palisade, the Toyota Grand Highlander, the Highlander, it is longer than most of those, and it's on par with your Tahoes and Yukons in terms of length and size. So as you can see, this is the Mercedes R500. If you liked the video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos to come in the future. Have a good day, guys.